So my question to Philippe, because you said that people still believe in the neoclassical economics, and Washington consensus. It must have changed somewhat in the political world in Brussels and among the MEPs and so on. What is your opinion? How quick is this change? Is it quick enough? And how do you assess in terms of different political groups? What can be done to educate also the decision makers?
Do we take a few more questions or one by one?
If you want to ask,
Okay,
you can.
Well, quickly, yes, there is gradual shift in policymakers, but they still believe that if we can fix the downsides of the system, will be just fine. So I would say that those who say actually what we need is a paradigm shift, that is the DNA of the system has to change. I'm against genetic engineering, but in this case, it is a human-made DNA, and there I would advocate a deep change. There, it's still a minority. Now, what can we do? Frankly, the way we teach economics. Of course, there's increasing diversity there, but by and large, when you're an economist, when you went to a business school, or if you're a doctor, a politician, a lawyer, and you had just economics 101, what is being taught is still the same ideology, because it's ideology. I mean, well, you should read, there's enough books saying, well, showing that this Homo economicus thing is just a lie. I mean, and the interesting thing is that economists, when confronted with reality and with the gap between their theories and reality, those ideologues will tell you, well, reality is wrong. Basically showing that what they have is an ideology. Reality should conform their theory. And there, if you don't change the teaching in economics, we will continue having problems. Now, the good news is that an increasing number of students are critical towards that kind of teaching, but it's still a minority nowadays. So we have to keep working on that, because again, I once said that for centuries, the Catholic Church had been the institution that gave legitimation to the power of the powerful. This is no longer the case, and certainly not with Pope Francisco, certainly not. But today, the church giving the legitimation is the church of neoclassical economists. And it is not less dangerous, believe me.
Thank you. Professor Pozzo, please.
No.
Oh, no. She comes first. Excuse me. Ladies first.
No, she was.
Oh, pardon.
Oh, you were...
Thank you. What do you think, Philippe, with the comment that Mariana said, that the outsourcing, because again, institution, of course, of the economic profession, a big problem. Huh? We know that, and that's very good to fight and change that. But at the same time, as Mariana mentioned, there is, of course, yes, outsourcing of strategies, well, a whole array. Just even the French government is doing exactly the same, outsourcing the health system reform, etc. So you think we should, in a way, break that if you want to get the paradigm shift you are talking about?
Yeah, that was also one of my sweet spots when Mariana spoke about this. I've come out in the public against the zillions, I can't remember exactly the numbers, I think it's 200 million, that the European Commission is spending on consultants. The Big Four and McKinsey basically dictating country-specific recommendations. This is for politicians to do. This is our responsibility. If you want political accountability, that's for us. That I can ask advice. But when you know how the people who populate these companies are trained exactly with that kind of ideology, first, you make everything, when the only instrument that you have is a hammer, every problem is to look like a nail, right? And so health and education should just bow to market logic. Do we want this? Come on, what we want is, as Mariana said, we want outcomes. And for some outcomes, market competition is a good thing. For some other outcomes, not. And so, no, we want a multiplicity of instruments. But the people who are working for these consultancies are basically trained just one way. One of the fights that I've had with the Commission since a long time is diversity in recruitment. I want people trained in different ways. I don't want to exclude economists, obviously not, but I don't want them to rule supreme. And I want the diversity of schools. Because again, we need collective intelligence. It is beyond the power of any individual to know what we need to do. to face those challenges. It is a matter of collective intelligence. And I do not know everything about everything, even if I would be named Emmanuel Macron. No, I don't know everything, but I know something about something. And you, Laurence, you know something about something. And Rocco as well, and Christophe as well. And collectively, we make a bet that we have the creativity and the intelligence that we need. But if you just say, okay, I outsource my responsibility as policymaker, well, why don't we trust the world to BlackRock or to Goldman Sachs? Tell me. Let's go directly that way.
Thank you, Philippe. Well.